I heard you say, go to the world and make me disciples in every nation. And I heard you say, baptize them to me in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And then I sat down at my own table, and I began to talk with the spirit of wisdom. And I found out every wise man only goes to the battle when he's got the winning plan. Now I know the secret of the war. Keep holding on to your wisdom as my master plan. And I'm starting from Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, until I reach the ends of the earth. Now I know the secret of the war. I'm gonna keep holding on to your wisdom. It's my master plan. And I'm starting from Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, until I reach the ends of the earth. You know what? Sometimes the strong, by their strength they can win, but only by wisdom can we build an abiding home. So I'm starting from my home, among my people and in my country, until I reach the ends of the earth. Now I know the secret of the war. I'm gonna keep holding on to your wisdom. It's my master plan. And I'm starting from Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, until I reach the ends of the earth. Say, I'm starting from Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, till I reach the ends of the earth. Say, I'm starting from Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, till I reach the ends of the earth. Please listen very carefully. God was against patterns. If you heard the things that Reverend Michelia said today, Kai, I read in Revelation chapter 11 that the witnesses will witness for as long as the days of their testimony is. He said, and no man can kill them for as long as their testimony lasts. He said, but when their testimony is ended, they will be killed in Egypt and in Sodom, where their Lord also was crucified. I'm coming. Hey. That they will be killed. The witnesses will be killed in Egypt and in Sodom. That's not my problem. My problem is where their Lord also. So Jesus was crucified by two systems. He will have said, if they'll be crucified by the Pharisees and by the Romans. That's what we know. Scripture said that there were two things that crucified Jesus. That it was Egypt and Sodom. Now let me tell you something else. And those two, the Lord wasted till its utter destruction. No. By the time they were leaving Egypt, there was nothing of substance in the structure of Egypt that was left. Everything had been decimated. But Egypt lived in their hearts. By the time God was done with Sodom, there is not a memorial of Sodom left today. There's no location called Sodom, but Sodom left in their hearts. And that system survived and developed until it killed Jesus. And the Bible tells you that in the day of the full witness, it is also that system that will be given power to kill the witness. If you joke with that system, you are playing with your life. Please hear me so that you understand. I'm glad that I introduced the caveat before he even thought. And the caveat was that in the days of developing, because everything Babylonian is Sodom. In the days when they were going to Babylon, listen, some people were captured as slaves onto Babylon. And it's normal. Jeremiah prophesied that they were going to be taken as slaves. And he told them that when they went there, they should settle down and build houses and marry. He said, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you. Hear this. That means that the caveat is that not everybody who travels abroad has jackpot. Do you understand me? There are people who travel abroad as missionaries. It is the spirit that drove them abroad that we're talking about. What's behind it? I'm glad he said, I preached. They invited me for a worship meeting in TCNN. Now, those of you who know that that's the bedrock of the production of our mainline churches ministers around here. Follow me. They invited me for a worship meeting in TCNN. Let me do and give Pastor David space because I want to hear. And I went there. It was a worship meeting. And I was reading out of John chapter 4. And I read the statement that the Samaritan woman made. She said, our fathers worshiped God on this mountain. And I told them that's the problem. The problem is that we are worshiping the way our fathers worshipped, but we're not worshiping the God our fathers met. So I said to them, the new religion in town, and I say it as a worship minister, the new religion in town is worship. More, it has become a religion. So that I can strengthen what Reverend Michelle has said. Are you following me? I told you before, you need the unction from the Holy One. Now, more than ever before, you need the unction from the Holy One. It's Pastor Choli that caused me trouble the other day. I told him that I'll report him while the message was going. It was the one that was causing me trouble the other day. I was sitting at my house, gently. I should stop there. No, you gave me the full story, so I'll tell you. I was sitting in my house, quietly. My heart broke. That the minister was in the center of what you call worship. And his host obstructed him to say, right now as you are worshiping, God asked me to give you a car. And he left the worship to lie down. I couldn't sleep. You don't know what you did to me that day. Listen, I'm sorry if you know who I'm talking about. That's not, please. Can we leave the petty levels? It's my joy if he's delivered from that place. But I'm saying to you, you cannot be at the throne. And that kind of engagement happens. You should throw back the key and shout to your car, perish with you. What do you want to give that cannot wait until you? What devil? We're desecrating sacred things. I am sick. I am tired of it. Some of you have known me for how many years? The way I worship 18, 19 years ago is the way I worship till today. I mean, when I do kairos. There's no emergence of a worship leader in this nation that has changed the texture of my worship presentation. It can provoke the depth of my worship, but it cannot change the texture of my worship presentation. And I don't feel any less than you. That you sing when music is loud and I sing when it is quiet does not change the throne before which we bow. I confronted the subject of prayer recently. And I asked them. We don't even know how much we are African in our prayer presentation. And heaven does not have a problem with us being African in our prayer presentation. But to conclude that that's the only way prayer should be done is wrong. Are you following me? Because what's happening is people to belong. One of my Thanksgivings, I watched Pastor Dan give his charge yesterday. Watch Pastor Teve give his charge today. Pastor David is going to bring a charge the moment I sit down now. My joy is that you can see the uniqueness of their texture. You can't touch Pastor Dan and he's a professor of the Old Testament. There's no way you can't do You can't touch Pastor Dan and the Old Testament does not come out. He uses the Old Testament to portray such beauty in redemption. I don't know anybody else that does it like that. And I'm supposed to be his father. Then you see this Pastor Teve's rash. He is a very rash. But by the time he goes to where he's going to, you cannot deny. David is a lot more systematic in his presentation. Then Pastor A is here and there. It's just, I know my sons. Pastor George is a builder. By the time he starts to teach, then all these guys call me their father. And I love the fact that by the time they come out to teach, you will see the uniqueness of their polished grace. They are not under any pressure to look or sound like me. Do you understand it? And I was saying this in my heart. It's the teaching that provoked me to say it out. I was saying it in my heart that I thank God that I did not clone these guys. They discovered their spaces. Please hear me. Nothing was said against your style of prayer, your style of worship. No, that's not it. What we are saying is that by the time you are done, be sure that you drew God out. And that if you ever found it, you too be sure. Do you understand it? What is the offense in saying, sir, that anybody that wants to marry should first ask God? What's the offense? I don't know any stronghold I've turned down like marital strongholds in Africa. 2 children are trying to marry. If this is not wickedness, help me define wickedness. 2 children are trying to marry. They are starting life. Excuse me, sir. Are they the ones who should be paying for reception? No. If you ask me, it is the honor of fathers to receive who came for their children's. Because after all, most of the guests are your guests, father. I have turned traditions. I live my life cheering it. A few weeks ago, two of my children were going to marry. And then I called them. I said, yeah, so what's left? Girl is orphaned. Boko Haram killed her father in front of them. And that's how I met her. She had just joined church when it happened. Her mom died a few months. She's literally the mother of her whole house. Everybody now knows who I'm talking about. It was time to marry. And I said to her, so what's the plan? He said, okay, that. I said, what do they demand of you? Part of the demands is that you must get at least a bus to go to the village and pack people who are not concerned about your life and bring them for your wedding. I didn't know when I slapped the table. I said, if you give them a bus, you are not my daughter. I said, call them and tell them that they should choose two in the committee. I said, and that one is because the wedding is already here. Tell them that I said they should choose two people in the committee. The people they choose, we will transport. Anybody else that loves you that much should pay transport and come. I will house them and feed them. The moment it becomes culture, nobody asks questions anymore. We just become irrational. I told them, you go and borrow money and do reception that has passed your power. And I thank God for my children, they hear. I told them, we finish wedding here. The small hall down there where pastors are eating. Arrange it. I'll give it to you. You are my child. Take it for free. Arrange it. Anybody who came should enter inside that place. Serve them a decent plate of rice. Make sure there's meat inside. When they eat, if they mean to give you a gift, they should shake you by the door and drop the gift. And everybody should go to his house. Hear me. I told you, tell them in your village that Pastor Chingtok, I won't take it. It doesn't matter which of your great-grandfathers started it. If it doesn't fall within the context of what is godly, at least at the level of thought, I won't take it. As a father, you should be thinking, my child is marrying, what should I do? If I tell you how we married, leave it. Social media will take it if I start now. Please, saints. Michelle, I taught something. And we have to pray. Don't think that you escaped. No. When you sit down to pray these kind of prayers, you pray them considering yourself. We can enjoy being one in body, but we cannot be one in finance. Are we not foolish? I told them 1,000,001 times. I get angry when my wife says, baby, what's the PIN to this your account? I just get out. Why? I'll tell you why. I don't like her touching my money. It must be a joke. One day I had to look at her and tell her. I said, I don't have more rights to this than you. You should not be asking me what is the PIN. You should know it. You should come one day and say, we need to change this PIN. It has stayed there for long. Everybody who is remotely connected, well, I thank God for my natural family. Nobody has that kind of time. We're not looking at each other. my biological family, I mean my brothers and my sisters, they know they don't have an inheritance in me. It does not matter what the village tradition. They know. They are not even expecting. Nobody will stand up and say the tradition says that his shirts belong to me. I'm his brother. I'll make me say something that they will drive me from village meeting. Where I know they attend. I don't have registration there. I'm telling you now. You can't even start to discuss the subject of a man's substance when his wife is alive. It's not a discussion. If he has to, once a man has wife and children, it is godless to touch a pin in his inheritance. If his husband, if the man and his wife die, just in case you are still African, let me deliver you. Welcome to Zion, the city of the Superman. Listen to, if the man dies and his wife by any reason dies together with him, if you have to steward his resource, steward it as a man who will give account. Please, bury that African thing with you. Don't bring it near me. Don't bring it near me. Our mother died. We went to bury her. I had a ministration somewhere. Actually, not a ministration. It was even going to be a worship meeting in our church in Zaria. No, that's when my father died. Reverend Tende, who was my senior pastor at that time, had declared that we're going to do our first father pleasers. And what we call father pleasers was supposed to be an all-evening worship meeting. Because he had been in my carols meetings a number of times. So he said, let's bring in something like that to church. And that was supposed to be our first father pleasers meeting. That Sunday in the evening. My father had died. We came to bury him on Saturday. So naturally, as is the custom in this area, we picked his corpse and then we drove to the village that Saturday and buried him. And we finished burying him. And I turned and I said to everybody, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. They said, you don't know the tradition. They said, what tradition? They said there's 3 days prayer. That's after 3 days prayer that family members can go. Hey. Me, 3 days prayer. I said to them, what's the significance of it? And this was the only thing that made sense to me in the significance. They said, it's so that those 3 days you will be receiving guests. Because they said you will mourn so that you don't behave like your father did not die. I said, Then they said, but in those 3 days you will also be receiving guests so that after 3 days it's expected that anybody who wants to come and greet you in the village. I lifted up my hand and I told my uncle, I'm not the firstborn. I'm not the secondborn. I'm not the thirdborn. I'm not the fourthborn. I'm the fifthborn of my father. If I was the firstborn, maybe. Still maybe. I said, so the elder ones are receiving visitors on our behalf. So that I'm going. I entered my car. Did I have a car that I had a car? But I didn't go there with my car. I found a ride to Jos. I went onward to Zaria on Sunday. As at that time in my ministry life, I had not seen the glory of God fall in a meeting like it fell on Sunday evening. There were certain covenant things God said to me that evening. And I did not disregard my father's memory. Please let me beg you. You see, we went from inside church to outside church so that we can, let's mop finally. What is remaining in you that is still Ishank? You understand? I think that's still Idoma. And Idoma mother swore that her son will not marry outside Idoma land. And they brought the matter to me. And in fact, the boy had told me that his mother said that even Abraham said they should not take a wife. It always has small scriptural rub-off. I was not going to enter a scriptural argument. There's no need. I said to her, Mama, well done. I hear say you talk, say you're picking, no go marry outside Doma. Say, yeah. I said, Kai. I said, Mama, me my agree. Say Doma ba. Now the best tribe for this world. You get one son where they heaven. Where no be everybody touch. Now that son, now they use make it Doma. I said, but Mama, I be like, say, I get one problem with God. Those of us will not be Idoma. I don't know what thing we do. We make say, make us Idoma. And when we be Idoma, no what thing we give them. I bet if you tell us so that we go give up, they go upgrade us. To think that the next pastor I'm calling is an Idoma pastor. And don't worry, it's not his mother. His mother will not do that kind of thing. He's got amazing parents. He has a strong, strong heritage of faith.
Fill us, Lord, with you. Fill us, Lord, with you. Fill us, Lord, with you. Fill us, Lord, with you.